Rising Filipino middleweight prospect Weljon the Triggerman Mindoro stops Mexican Omar Ulysses Munguia in a devastating knockout in the first round. Mindoro didn't waste any time against his opponent Munguia. Just right after the opening bell of the first round, Mindoro came out very aggressive, throwing heavy punches with bad intentions. Every time Mindoro landed his punches on Munguia, it was obvious that Munguia felt the pain of the punishing blows of the Triggerman. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the first round, Mindoro's heavy hands landed Munguia's head. As a result, Munguia slightly lost his balance or equilibrium, and the referee warned Mindoro since the punch landed at the back of the head of Munguia. And right after that sequence, both fighters touched gloves to show sportsmanship and continued right after. And as the fight continues, Mindoro came out aggressively, but in a calculated, relaxed, and intelligent manner by throwing some accurate, heavy jabs that connected directly on Munguia's face and followed up with a series of combinations, left hook and right hook, while Munguia was able to block some of those punches, and Mindoro continued with his intensive, aggressive offense, throwing a series of straights left and right, followed by some uppercuts and punches, heavy punches, directly to Munguia's bread basket. And as the fight moves forward, during the 1 minute and 40 seconds mark in round number 1, Mindoro landed a thunderous left and right liver punch combos and followed up with a killer right uppercut that drops Munguia down to the canvas. The referee immediately count and see if he can still continue, but after noticing Munguia that he doesn't no longer have to or have the will to get up and continue, the referee immediately stopped the bout, waived the fight to call it off because Munguia is no longer to continue. It was a very devastating series of punches, and it was very clear that Munguia is no longer has the condition to handle the Filipino knockout artist in Mindoro. As a result of this victory, now Mindoro improved his record with a new record of 14 wins, still undefeated, 14 victories by KO with 1 draw. Man, this man, aka the Triggerman, Mindoro, this guy hits really hard. He has a 100% knockout ratio. This man is slowly moving up in the 160-pound rankings and is putting everyone on notice. He's currently ranked number 70 in the world rankings, and it is pretty clear that his ranking will continue to move up after this devastating win, and is slowly moving up to the ladder. This Filipino middleweight is making noise in the middleweight world rankings, in the middleweight division, and considering the fact that the current state of middleweight is not so popular or glamorous, unlike during the glory days of marvelous Marvin Hagler in the 80s, and also in the 2000s, back when guys like Gennady Golovkin, Triple G, Sergio Maravilla Martinez, Paul the Punisher Williams, Kelly the Ghost Public, Jermaine, Taylor, Bad Intentions. All of those guys rocked the middleweight division back in the day. Now, there is a new rising middleweight, and he's a Filipino, Weljon Triggerman Mindoro. Having a Filipino middleweight contender is really rare, considering most of the Filipino fight in the lower weight class. Now this is something to look up to. Very interesting, very intriguing. Now I know it is still early and far more premature to crown Mindoro as the next middleweight sensation or the next middleweight star. But one thing for sure is the fact that this guy has a huge potential to become a world champion someday. Now, considering the middleweight division, the champions of the current state of this division, we have Kazakhstan's Janibek Alimkhanuli, which is the unified middleweight champion. We also have Erislan Rara of Puerto Rico, and of course Carlos Adames of the Dominican Republic. So Mindoro has the power to knock any opponent out in just a single heavy punch. And although he's still raw, inexperienced, and needs to work on his defense, I think he can definitely fix his flaws by staying focused, avoid nonsense outside of the ring, and distractions outside of the ring. Mindoro needs to stay focused on his boxing career so that he will succeed. If he wants to become a world champion, he needs to take it seriously and focus on his training, continue to level up his defense. That's the only thing he needs to focus, is his defense, because he already has the power to knock anyone out, and he has the tools, the combinations, the willpower. Mindoro needs to focus more on his defense if he wants to become successful, a legit world champion someday. This guy hits hard. This guy can be the next boogeyman in his division. All middleweights better watch out for the Filipino middleweight, Weljon Triggerman Mindoro.